the FBI director is being questioned by New Jersey Senator Cory Booker.
Defend children, reassigned. You're not denying that. I've seen you time and time again attack my colleagues' premises of questions as a way to not answer the question. So let me end with this. I believe you have made our country weaker and less safe. I believe that we are more vulnerable to a major event, and I pray to God it doesn't happen. You've gutted the Bureau of Institutional Knowledge and Expertise. You fired or pushed out seasoned FBI officials, many with more than 20 years of experience, and were working on cases that were critical. You've been purging thousands of serious law enforcement officials who spent their careers keeping us safe, only to lower hiring standards in order to find anyone to replace them. And shockingly, you admitted in this hearing to Senator Coons that it would take 14 years to fill the vacancies at your agency. Many are the result of your purge.
Welcome to the Dr. John podcast. So what just happened, guys? Kash Patel, Trump's handpicked FBI director who built his reputation on fighting corruption, is now facing federal judges threatening his arrest, stacking perjury charges, and obstruction probes, having become the exact corrupt official he once claimed to oppose.
20% of FBI agents are doing low-level immigration enforcement instead of their mission-critical work. You've disbanded entire task forces that stop election interference, foreign influence, public corruption. And who benefits from this? Well, corrupt people benefit from it. Criminals benefit from it. Vladimir Putin benefits from it. And it really makes me wonder who you're looking out for. It makes me think we can't trust you as a nation. You swear to release the Epstein files, but now you're withholding the Epstein files. You claim that you have a suspect in a serious assassination. Whoops, then you don't have a suspect. You know nothing about plans to remove FBI agents, yet you're directly involved in those plans.
Here is where the nightmare begins for Patel. A federal judge, an actual judge in a real courtroom with real authority, issued an order that should make every government official think twice before defying the courts. The judge said that if Patel withholds even one more Epstein-related document, he will order his immediate arrest. Not a fine, not a warning, not a strongly worded letter. Arrest, handcuffs, federal marshals showing up at his office. That is where we are right now, and it gets worse.
In the words of an ex-FBI official, you are overseeing, and I quote, generational destruction of the nation's premier law enforcement agency. Mr. Patel, in just 8 months, you have assaulted the institutional integrity of the FBI. But I know FBI field agents. I've worked with them in Newark. No matter how truly bad you are, you can't undermine the legacy of agents who fight every day to keep us safe, but you can tarnish the integrity of the agency and undermine the agency's capacity. I believe you're failing as a leader, and that your failure does have serious implications for the safety and security of Americans and our families. We're more vulnerable to domestic and foreign attack because of your failures of leadership. I don't think you're fit to hand the Bureau, but here's the thing, Mr. Patel. I think you're not going to be around long. I think this might be your last oversight hearing. Because as much as you supplicate yourself to the will of Donald Trump and not the Constitution of the United States of America, Donald Trump has shown us in his first term and in this term, he is not loyal to people like you. He will cut you loose.
The same judge caught Patel lying under oath about whether he was actually complying with court orders. That means perjury charges are now actively on the table. Perjury is a felony. Felonies carry prison time. Patel is looking at the real possibility of trading his office for a cell.
This may be the last time I have a hearing with you because I don't think you're long for your job. But I'm going to tell you this. I pray for you. I pray for you that you can step up and defend your oath, defend the Constitution, and do a much better job of defending this country. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Do you want to say anything?
Yes, sir. That rant of false information does not bring this country together. If you want to work on bringing this country, it's my time, not yours.
My God.
If you want to talk about
dividing this country,
it is my
I follow
time.
you on your social media posts, that
It is
tears
my
this country
time
apart.
to
There
address
should be a
your
unifying-
falsehoods.
Oh,
You are an
you can try
embarrassment
all
to the
you
division
want
in this
to
country.
not
Senator,
take
it is
my
responsibility
time.
for what
You
you
had
have
your
said.
time.
Sir, you're
Your
making a
time is
mockery of this
over.
committee. Sir, you don't tell me my time is over.
You
The
know how
people
far
of New
we've
Jersey
come
tell me
since
what
you
my
tell-
time is.
Senator,
You can't lecture me.
You can tell me
Sir,
my
you
time's over?
You may be the charge of the
I'm not
FBI,
going anywhere.
but I am not afraid of you, sir.
Mr. Chairman,
Not afraid of you.
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
But the Epstein files are just the beginning, because while Patel is fighting with judges over document releases, another legal front has opened up behind him. Multiple lawsuits have been filed by FBI agents that Patel fired. And these are not random agents. These are the people who were investigating Trump. These are the agents working on cases that the Trump administration desperately did not want investigated. And here is the detail that should make your jaw drop.
Senator Booker, I announced at the beginning of this meeting that this back and forth, talking over each other, doesn't work. And I said if that happened, I asked Patel not to respond, and I was going to give him some time after the senator's time was up to respond. And he has the privilege to do that uninterrupted.
Mr.
So
Chairman, one point of order.
Go ahead, Mr.
I've
Patel.
watched him talk over us, and you've never once criticized him for us not even being able to get our questions out.
Well,
He has been rude and disrespectful to senator after senator.
And when the senators were not giving him a chance to answer, I didn't stop the senator either. Go ahead, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If the FBI, under my 7-month leadership, were failing this administration in this country, why do we have 23,000 violent felons arrested this year alone? A double increase from that time last year. Why is it that we have seized 6,000 weapons? Why have we found 1,500 child predators and arrested them? Why have we 300 human traffickers in jail? Why have we found and identified 4,700 children? Why have we seized 1,600 kilograms of fentanyl, enough to kill a third of the American public, a 25% increase alone from last year? 88,000 kilograms of cocaine seized, 7,000 kilograms of meth seized, and that's just on our criminal operations in summer heat. How is it possible that we are taking 8 kilograms off the streets of the cities in New Jersey and preventing the deaths of 607,000 people this year alone, a failure of the FBI and my leadership? How is it that we have counterintelligence arrests already this year exceeding the numbers from the entirety of last year? 33% increase in PRC, 83% in Russia, 60% in the CI space as it relates to Iran, and we haven't even talked about CT, the southern border, the northern border.
In these lawsuits, Patel actually admitted that the firings were likely illegal. He said it in writing. He admitted it to a federal court. He knew what he was doing was against the law, but he did it anyway because he was following White House orders. Let that sink in. The director of the FBI, the top law enforcement officer in the country, admitted in court filings that he broke the law on purpose because his boss told him to. That is not how the rule of law works. That is how banana republics work.
Before Senator Cruz, I kind of feel like a broken record today. All this interest in FBI termination, yet my colleagues showed no intent or interest in when my whistleblowers suffered retaliation over the past years, particularly the past 4 years. Indeed, one whistleblower has alleged that Brian Driscoll's insubordination, whether an agent is on a hot button case or not, they ought to be held accountable for misconduct and weaponization. Senator Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, I have to say, it used to be that to see theater, you had to go to the Kennedy Center. Now, apparently, you need only go to the Senate Judiciary Committee and see our Senate Democrats berating the director of the FBI, which, okay, it's not, partisan politics is not new in the United States Congress. But what is remarkable is what Senator Booker was berating Director Patel about. He wasn't berating him for failing to do his job, but rather he was furious for Director Patel for successfully doing his job. For 4 years, the Democrats under Joe Biden had an open border that undermined the safety of every single American. They allowed 12 million illegal aliens to come into this country to invade this country, and every single day Americans were murdered, women were raped, children were assaulted by violent criminals that Democrats released. Now, Director Patel, I found Senator Booker's questioning really bizarre. He asked you, have you reassigned FBI agents from human trafficking to immigration issues. Director Patel?
So now federal judges are looking at Patel from multiple angles. They are looking at his defiance of court orders on the Epstein files. They are looking at his false statements under oath. They are looking at his admissions about illegal firings. And they are getting angry, really angry, because here is the thing about federal judges. They have seen every trick in the book. They have watched government officials try to delay, obfuscate, and stonewall for decades. They know what obstruction looks like.
Are the Mexican cartels that are bringing people illegally into this country engaged in human trafficking?
Yes, sir.
What the hell does it mean to reassign someone from human trafficking to immigration? The greatest human trafficking in the world has been over the last 4 years at our southern border. It is modern day slavery that the Democrats still defend. They still defend those open borders. Mr. Patel, he also said, did you reassign FBI agents from protecting children to immigration? How many children have you found that were victimized by the open borders of the previous administration?
4,700.
4,700. And yet, oddly, I don't hear a Democrat here saying, gosh, thanks for protecting those kids.
35% increase year to date last year.
And when they see Patel playing these games, when they catch him in lie after lie, they do not get fooled. They get furious. And when a federal judge has had enough, things move very fast. Contempt charges, arrest warrants, marshals showing up at your door. That is the trajectory Patel is on right now. Let me explain the Epstein situation in more detail because this is the core of everything. There are documents related to Jeffrey Epstein that have been under court order for release.
All right, I want to shift topics. And I want to shift topics to what happened last week. Charlie Kirk was assassinated. He was assassinated because of his political views. We're living in a time of enormous division and tragically hatred, and hatred that manifested in evil that we saw last week. Now, the FBI, working in concert with state and local law enforcement, apprehended what appears to be, in all likelihood, the murderer. And you did so in just 33 hours. So I want to start by just congratulating you and the FBI agents and state and local law enforcement for successfully apprehending the murderer in less than a day and a half. In the wake of that assassination, we have seen far too many people on the left celebrating the assassination. We've seen Democrats, we've seen activists cheering it on. We've seen, tragically, teachers in high schools, teachers in elementary schools, university professors cheering on the murder of Charlie Kirk. You and I both knew Charlie well. He was a good friend. He was an extraordinary man. And I will say there's a great deal of discussion about what to do about it. Under our Constitution, under the Bill of Rights, the First Amendment, speech is protected. And that's true even for vile speech. Someone can stand up and say the most hateful thing, and it's protected by the First Amendment. Nazis and Klansmen can march in the streets, and even though their speech is bigoted and horrible and racist, the First Amendment protects it. Conduct, however, is not protected by the First Amendment, particularly conduct that is violent. Violent conduct that is threatening others, that is harassing others, that is injuring, or in this case, murdering others, is most assuredly not protected by the First Amendment. And so I would encourage you and the FBI to focus
These documents apparently contain information that could be extremely damaging to Trump. We do not know exactly what is in them. Phone calls, meetings, something that the administration is desperate to keep hidden. So what did Trump do when he returned to power? He installed Patel at the FBI, and suddenly, documents that were supposed to be released started getting held up, reclassified, tied up in endless legal reviews, mysteriously missing from file systems. None of it is subtle, none of it is plausible, and none of it is fooling anyone.
On conduct. Now, speech can direct. Speech can guide you to those engaged in conduct. And I will say one question that I have and many have, and I recognize this is an ongoing investigation, so I don't want you to say anything that would compromise the investigation. But what can you tell us at this point about what evidence there exists of other individuals who may have had prior knowledge of this assassin's plans to murder Charlie Kirk on September 10th?
Generally speaking, we've interviewed numerous people, family members and friends, including the partner, to provide us with a detailed history of the knowledge he may have had, the suspect may have had prior to. We're still mapping out who, if anyone, was involved as an accomplice. As I said, the investigation is ongoing. We're also speaking to and going to interview numerous individuals online who were part of a chat group that was involved in this heinous assassination. And we're also going to work with our state and local partners out in Utah to find out what community organizations, if any, participated or had any foreknowledge of this information. But it's very much ongoing. I remind everybody that it's not even been a week since Charlie's tragic death.
Is it accurate? It's been widely reported that the assassin's roommate was a transgender man who was transitioning to be female, and it's also been reported that they may have been romantic partners. Is that accurate?
Yes, Senator.
And I assume the FBI is investigating. It has also been reported that there were transgender chat rooms that may have had some awareness of the plan to commit this murder. Is that accurate as well?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
It's been reported that there were chat rooms of transgender activists that indicated some degree of potentially of foreknowledge of this murder.
We're still developing that.
Do you have any information the bullet casings had on them both Antifa and LGBT wording on them? Do you have any indication of the source of those engravings and what inspired them?
As to the actual source, we're still developing that.
The judges ordered Patel to release the documents. Patel ignored the order or claimed compliance without actually complying or found some technicality to delay just a little longer. And each time he did, the judge's patience wore thinner. Now the judge has drawn a line in the sand. Release the documents or face arrest. Those are the options. There is no third path. There is no more room for games. And Patel is trapped. If he releases the files, Trump gets exposed. If he does not release them, he goes to jail. He has been trying to delay, hoping something will change, hoping Trump will save him, hoping the courts will back off. But the courts are not backing off. They are moving in. Now let me tell you about the fired agents, because this is where Patel's legal exposure goes from bad to catastrophic. The agents Patel fired were part of an investigation called Arctic Frost. That was the probe into Trump's alleged misconduct. These were the people who were building cases against the president's inner circle, potentially against the president himself, and Patel, following White House orders, eliminated them. He fired the people investigating his boss, and he admitted in court that he knew it was illegal. The lawsuits from these agents are incredibly detailed. They lay out exactly what happened, when it happened, who ordered it, what was said. And Patel's own admissions are in the court record. He cannot take them back. He cannot claim he was misunderstood. He put it in writing. Now, federal prosecutors are looking at those admissions, and they are asking a very simple question. If Patel admitted to illegal conduct in a civil lawsuit, should he be charged criminally? The answer almost certainly is yes. We are talking about potential charges for abuse of authority, for conspiracy, for violating federal employment law, for obstruction of justice, multiple felonies, multiple years in prison. And here is the part that should terrify Trump. If Patel goes down, if he is facing serious prison time, he has every incentive to cooperate with prosecutors. He can cut a deal. He can tell them everything about the White House's role in the Epstein cover-up, about the orders to fire the investigators, about the entire scheme to protect Trump from legal accountability. Patel knows where all the bodies are buried. He was the one holding the shovel. So Trump is now in an impossible position. He cannot protect Patel without risking his own exposure. But if he abandons Patel, he looks weak and disloyal, and everyone else in his administration starts wondering if they will be thrown under the bus next. Every day the situation gets worse. Every day the judges get angrier. Every day Patel's legal exposure grows, and Trump is distracted by a dozen other crises. The Iran situation, a looming government shutdown, his own approval ratings in freefall. But the Patel problem is not going away. It is accelerating. Let me read you something that should send chills down your spine. A congressional filing, 115 pages long, described the FBI under Patel as being in a state of fear and paralysis. Those are the actual words used by Congress. Fear and paralysis inside the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Think about what that means. The FBI is supposed to be investigating federal crimes, fighting terrorism, protecting national security. Instead, agents are afraid to do their jobs. They do not know if they will be fired for investigating the wrong person. They do not know if they will be retaliated against for following the evidence. They do not know if they will become targets if their investigations lead anywhere near the White House. So they are paralyzed. They cannot work effectively. And that is a disaster for the country. Criminals are not being prosecuted. Terrorists are not being caught. National security is suffering. The FBI is being destroyed from within by its own director. And the man responsible for all of this, the man who built his career on being the anti-corruption crusader, is now the one who has become the corruption. He is the one lying to judges. He is the one breaking federal law. He is the one turning the FBI into a political weapon. The irony would be almost funny if it were not so terrifying. So let me break down exactly where things stand right now and what is likely to happen next. The Epstein files. Patel is under direct court order to release them. A federal judge has explicitly said that if he withholds even one more document, arrest will follow. Patel cannot delay forever. The court's patience is exhausted. Either he releases the files voluntarily, or he gets arrested and someone else releases them. Those are the only outcomes. The fired agent's lawsuits, these are moving forward. Patel's own admissions are in the record. The judges overseeing these cases are referring the criminal implications to prosecutors. Criminal charges are not a matter of if, but when. The perjury investigations. Patel has been caught making false statements under oath. That is a felony. Federal prosecutors take perjury very seriously, especially when it involves a high-ranking government official trying to obstruct justice. The institutional damage. The FBI is in fear and paralysis. That cannot continue indefinitely. At some point, Congress is going to have to act. Pressure is building from both parties for Patel's removal, and that pressure will eventually become impossible for Trump to ignore. Patel gets arrested for contempt of court. This forces Trump's hand immediately. He either defends a convicted FBI director, which is politically toxic, or he distances himself, which makes him look weak. Patel finally releases the Epstein files. Whatever damaging information about Trump is in there comes out. The political and legal fallout is immediate and severe. Criminal charges are filed against Patel. He faces the real possibility of years in federal prison. To save himself, he cuts a deal with prosecutors and testifies against Trump. Trump fires Patel to try to stop the bleeding, but the damage is already done. The investigations continue. The court orders remain. Patel's cooperation with prosecutors, if he chooses to give it, could still happen. None of these scenarios are good for Trump. None of them are good for the FBI, and none of them are good for the country, because what we are watching is the complete politicization of federal law enforcement. We are watching an FBI director abuse his power to protect a political ally. We are watching federal courts have to threaten arrest just to enforce basic rule of law. We are watching the entire justice system get twisted for political purposes. In a healthy democracy, this would result in immediate action, immediate removal, immediate consequences. But we are not in a healthy democracy right now. We are in a situation where the president has been impeached, where federal judges are threatening FBI directors with arrest, where the entire government is in chaos mode. The Patel situation is not going to resolve itself quietly. It is going to get worse before it gets better. The walls are closing in. Patel knows it. Trump knows it, and everyone watching can see it happening in real time. So that is where we are. FBI director in freefall, federal judges threatening arrest, criminal investigations moving forward, an entire administration scrambling to contain the damage. This story is far from over. In fact, the real chaos is probably just beginning. And the only question now is how much more damage will be done before someone finally puts handcuffs on Kash Patel.